Four. It's recording.
It's recording. We don't need a countdown. We already have liftoff. And so does the La Liga title race, apparently.
I
Three
mean,
teams
it's
up until 2 hours ago, and now we're down to two. What a great day. You know what was surprising, first of all, was the fact that all three kickoffs were at the same time.
oh
Isn't that
yeah.
usually the scene with the last match day? It's not with the second last.
No, in La Liga, it's usually like the last few. Not only the last one, because
Okay.
it's not only the title race, which is so close. It's also the relegation battle, which is
Hmm.
at its very very gritty. That's why they want to make sure that all teams are unaware of what's happening.
If you could allow me to share my screen, I've got the La Liga table ready for us to go. Um,
Yeah.
just we'll start off with the title race, obviously, because that's where all the focus is right now. Um, Three teams. It started off with La Liga at 83 points. 80 points. Real Madrid at 78 points, and Barcelona at 76. And well, let's talk about Barcelona first of all. I think they were up 1-0, was it, or were they down 1-0 initially?
Yeah, they were up 1-0, and then
Okay.
Celta Vigo equalized. Then Longley got sent off, and they took the lead.
Braithwaite missed an unreal chance. Let's just put that out there as well. Barcelona's number 9, whereas Atletico's number 9, who used to be Barcelona's
Barca's
number
number
9,
9.
scores the winner to take them top of the league. Abdul Rehman, what are your thoughts right now? Let's get to Real Madrid in a bit. Let's talk about Atletico first.
Objectively, between those teams, right?
Mm,
Like I think what you said just sums it up so nicely in a sentence. Barcelona made a huge mistake selling Luis Suarez. He was scapegoated last season for no reason. Where they had consistent performances in the league throughout, and they just kind of bottled it towards the end, where everything went down, where the exit from the Champions League, dropping points in the league, that's where it cost them. But they chose to just kick this poor guy out, and Luis Suarez is a very interesting personality, as we know. You know, he, he he likes to bite people, but today he's bitten into our dreams, and but all credits due. He's been a consistent performer. He's been Atletico's main man. Maybe last season or the season before that, you could look at that Atleti team and be like, you know what? They don't have a superstar. They don't have that prime player that the rest of the team can look towards, build around, and look up to, and be like, okay, this man's gonna take us somewhere. And for a free transfer, I I think that's an amazing return.
I think like when you try to bring up the topic about Luis Suarez with Barcelona fans, you always get the same response. It's like, no, but he missed a lot of chances. He hasn't scored away in Europe since 2015 or something. Like, are you kidding me, man? Are you
I
kidding me?
don't
You look at
I've
that today.
never I've never listen. It's all strikers miss chances. The greatest, okay, Pele, Maradona, Ronaldo, Messi, anyone is gonna miss chances. Like even they have stains on their history books. Luis Suarez was arguably one of the top two, top four center forwards of the last decade, right? I mean, just passing it on just like that in a
Your
stage of his
direct La
career,
Liga rival.
to a yeah,
To,
that's the most painful thing to Atleti. Like
I
not
mean,
only that Barcelona cost themselves the league title, but they are also costing us that league title by that bad transfer.
no, genuinely, without Suarez, I think Atletico bottle it today. Not just today, but a few other games
Not
as well.
yeah.
They're probably 12, 15 points behind where they normally are. But look at them today with that beautiful 83. Um, this Atletico team, they've been known to be bottlers. They bottled it okay, they won the league title, I think it was 2014.
2014.
But they've bottled it. They bottled it last year. They've bottled Champions League finals, plural. They've bottled cups as well. This team with Suarez, I mean, Suarez is a game changer for them. What does he bring to this Atletico team?
He definitely does bring like a lot of, you know, that winning mentality. I know it's very cliche of me saying it, and while the words just ripple off my tongue, I want them to go back quickly, but it is what it is. Uh, this team lacks a winner. 2014, that squad is completely gone. You know,
Mm.
7 years ago, there are just a couple of handful players from that 2014 when
That
Koke,
that
Saul were like babies. You know,
that
like
team was centered around its defense, and now you have Godin gone, Miranda gone, Felipe Luis gone, Juan
yeah,
Fran gone.
even the keepers changed. Everything's changed.
Keeper
So
decided to switch allegiances somewhere in the middle.
yeah, it's a completely different team, a completely different setup, um, a different style of play even.
Mm.
In 2014, Atletico were always number two, right? They were always number two, number three, number two, but they were always like the underdogs until that final whistle at that 2-2 draw at Camp Nou. But
Mm.
and because of that, you know, it kind of always did not apply enough pressure on them. But right now, they were at least like what 11 points ahead of Barcelona at one stage, right? You gotta understand not only that Atletico bottled it, but Barcelona also bottled it just as badly. By the way, it kind of just goes under the radar because they bottled it from second to third, and and not from first to second. But Atleti have been always on top for like the longest period of time, and I'm not gonna lie, they do deserve it. They do deserve it. But it's very close, and I'm hoping that you know next week some thriller happens and something that stuff of movies actually.
You look at this league table right now, yeah, and you see Barcelona have 19 goals more than Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. So I think the title bottler in terms of specific games really does belong to them. They're scoring plenty of goals, but then the goals against as well. Like, attackers win you games, defenses win you titles. Isn't that the
Exactly.
saying?
That's so true right now. You look
Now,
at the other defensive records as well, right? Sevilla has a better defensive record than Barcelona. Real Sociedad has an equal. Athletic Club only has 2 goals worse. So Barcelona's defense is actually like very very problematic. And no matter what they say, the thing is they've been poisoned by a philosophy at this stage. They think that
mm,
attack is all the way to go, but when you play finished fielders as center defensive mids who can't cut back, oh sorry, who can't come back to defend, and when your center backs are being hired based on how many club trophies they won decades ago, it doesn't work like that. You gotta evolve by the time, and there have been a lot of sentimentalities, and have been time and time again, uh, as just a football fan looking at it, you gotta cut those losses. You gotta take the next step, right? And the longer Barcelona holds on to that, it's just gonna be like a tumor that's gonna keep on growing, and gonna stop them winning from more things from time to time.
the thing about their philosophy, right? They had that really successful team from 2008 to 2012. Um, two Champions Leagues under Pep, but you could argue that both of those Champions Leagues were won in dodgy circumstances. In final as well, where Sir Alex, you might argue, I'm sure if Rohan or Ricky were here, they'd argue that Sir Alex was the one who bottled it rather than Barcelona actually deserving to win those. So, but still, you'd
I
expect
would
them
I
to
would
learn their
think
lessons
Yeah,
over.
I would think yeah, in 2009 I would say it was, I would use the word dodgy throughout
Mm,
the whole campaign. But 2011 I do feel like there were like heads
the
and shoulders,
stronger
yeah,
team.
heads and
Yeah.
shoulders above. In 2009,
Mm,
Sir Alex actually bottled it, because in 2011 I think it was an achievement in itself, the fact that that United side even actually made it to the
mm.
final. It wasn't the greatest team in the world, with all due respect. I feel like that moment on, that was like the start of the shoddiness of Premier League for the 5-6 seasons to come, where teams kind of got weakened.
Mm.
But other than that, you can't rely on a way something that happened 10 years ago. You wouldn't if you wouldn't play football in 2011 how it was played in 2001 because times have changed. Why would you play
Exactly.
football in 2021 the way you played in 2011?
Exactly. Now, speaking of Atletico, we spoke about Suarez. Let's go to the very back now with Oblak in goal. How crucial has he been, not today and just the whole season in general, to be honest?
Today he had a great effort, which unfortunately did go in. But more importantly, last game, last game week, he was the rock of Atletico. He was the only way that they managed to get any points, and it's been a reoccurring theme, uh, especially more so second half of the season. I think he's been immense. Courtois and Oblak are two keepers that keep going under the radar because they don't play in the Premier League. It's fact, and the fact that they haven't had great Champions League performances in a semifinal or final, which haven't highlighted their names because those are some of the stages where fans really are attentive, the global football fans, and the plaudits from outside of Spain come. But if Atletico win their league title, I feel like Oblak will just be as important as Suarez to them.
Um, but no, I completely agree. For me, I think Courtois and Oblak are like the best two keepers in the world, alongside Neuer, obviously.
Yeah,
Whenever he is fit this season, he has been so. But especially
he's
Courtois, man.
had he's been a bit weird after their exit though.
Mm, I mean, that's just Manuel Neuer for you, isn't it? No, but Courtois, man, as much as it pains me to say this, he was the best goalkeeper in the world last year, and he's definitely number one or number two this season as well, along with like Oblak. The guy pulls out saves out of nowhere. Just
Yeah.
you'd expect the ball to be hitting the back of the net easily against Chelsea as well. How many times? I mean, we accredited Courtois with saves against Havertz and Werner. Sure, like they missed, but those were actual saves, and you put a Kepa in there, and that's a goal. So
I don't know. You put any decent goalkeeper in there. You put the fourth or fifth best goalkeeper in the world in there, and they're conceding
those
all those
goals.
goals.
You
Just
mean
one thing.
Allison and Ederson right there, right? Because let's be honest, those guys aren't on par with Courtois and Oblak.
They're
Sorry,
not.
boys.
They're not. I
Mm-hmm.
just want to highlight something. Like, looking at goal against, right? Real Madrid have
Mm-hmm.
conceded 27. Atletico have conceded 24. In that mind, you might think that Atletico's defense is better, but when you realize that Mendy's been injured, Carvajal's been injured, Ramos has been injured, Varane has been injured for the better part of the season, then you realize how good Courtois has been.
Mm, not just Courtois, just Zidane's game management in general. I
Yeah.
used to think that when Zidane won those Champions Leagues, that guy was carried by Ronaldo. I happily say I eat my words because that guy is the best coach in the world. Maybe
He's
to have
definitely
to
one
have
of the best Madrid coaches uh, for a while. I think I'd put him head and shoulders above, you know,
Ancelotti,
maybe even
Mourinho,
Ancelotti and Mourinho. It's very close because there's a lot of
Rafael Benitez.
yeah, even Rafael Benitez. I I I I have my doubts. I don't know if he'll be able to replicate this in a different environment because of his the status and power he has over these players at Madrid is special. You know, they've got his pictures plastered all over Bernabeu. When players are like new to the club or they're walking around, this guy's already an icon to them. So when this guy comes into coach, they already know what kind of a player, what status he has, who they're talking to. So and he's done a tremendous job. But for him to go to a different club, which seems to be the possibility at the end of the season, the sad possibility that he might be leaving and be joining a different club.
I feel like what a lot of the top clubs nowadays and Real Madrid have are like a lot of, strong personalities and egos and characters. And what someone like Zidane can do for that team, it just brings them down a bit. Like, listen, you might be great, you might be one of the best, but I was the best.
I was
Like,
the
there's
best. Yeah.
no there's no, going over me. Now, speaking of Madrid, first let's talk about VAR and some of the decisions that have gone against Madrid, and then some that have gone for. Let's talk about the cross first of all today. Handball penalty or no?
That's a tough call.
Mm.
I
We've seen it
understand.
given against Madrid. We have seen it given
I've seen
against.
it. Given against. I can't remember which exactly player it was, but I remember it was given it against us. A very similar situation. In this one, it's you're split about it, right? Obviously, I as a Madrid fan wanted to be given as a penalty. There's no doubt about it, right? Because I want a penalty so we can score the goal so we can win the title. It's a no brainer. But if I stay, if I sit here and just keep regurgitating that fact that like, oh, it's a penalty without actually even thinking about the mechanisms of how like it happens, then there's no point. Then we're not gonna have a discussion, are we? But if you start looking at it objectively, I can understand why it's not given as a penalty. But at the same time, I find it hard the fact that it like it's not. It's like it's a very
It,
very difficult decision.
See, the thing is, before VAR came in, there were inconsistencies with referees' decisions here and there, and we thought VAR would come in and fix those. But it just seems to have created an even bigger gap. A decision that will be given
Yeah.
by one referee in one game will not be given by, you'd expect a different referee, but sometimes even the same referee in a different game now looks at a replay and
Or
thinks,
a
you know what?
same referee in the same game.
Are you talking about the Atletico Real Madrid game right now?
I'm talking about no, I'm actually talking about the Sevilla Madrid game.
um, so now that goal for Real Madrid today, again, slightly controversial, some would say.
I mean, if you're
Was there
trying to find
movement?
controversy, if you're trying to find controversy in that, then God help you. I feel like there's not a lot of controversy in that. Yeah, Benzema's in
He didn't
offside position.
interfere
It's a
with. He
cross
didn't
for.
interfere with the play. Like, come on.
If
We
you're
know
trying to
interference when we
find
say it.
if you're trying to find what's it called interference in that, if you're trying to find that as offside, then you're offensive to football after a few times because at that point you are making the rules so suitable in that situation how you want them to be and non-replicable in any other situation for any other team.
Was that goal checked by VAR or was that just
Yeah,
given?
it was checked
It
by
was.
VAR.
See, I think under any different circumstances, maybe even a different team, that goal's not even checked. It's just given straight away.
I don't know. I totally understand the
No,
perception of
man.
it, but you know, sometimes you're just walking around and you just see something, it crosses your mind,
Mm,
and then you just leave it.
mm.
This
A
is
lot
one
of
of those
people haven't
things
left it. A lot
because
of fans from certain teams have not left it. That's the problem, you see.
I don't blame them, but I really don't see the point. It's not. I don't feel like it's a point of discussion where I really have to get into it. Uh,
No.
there are something that are actually like objective, like the handball. That's objective. You can actually tell like like what happened there. Like he raised his hand. Uh, for me, not gonna lie, at that moment it looked like a pen. It looked
Mm.
very much like a pen because he, what's it called, adducts his arm. He takes his arm away from the body. In that
And
regard,
then yeah, yeah.
in that regard, he's kind of stopping it. But then with handballs, I've been thinking about these a lot because of the Sevilla game and because of today, and also due to all the controversy that the Sevilla game caused. Is that like would these handballs be given before VAR?
Mm.
Yeah, and looking at it, I don't think today's handball, the one we're talking about, would be given before VAR, and that's why I think it shouldn't be a handball. I hope it kind of makes sense.
No, no, that makes sense. VAR is there to aid referees in decisions,
Yeah,
especially when they make errors. And if this was something that would be given beforehand, not given beforehand, and it's not given now, then you could say VAR has been used correctly here. It's done what it was brought in for, you know?
yeah.
Um, the controversial goal that I was talking about, I think the biggest controversy about that was the finish. Nacho just seemed to stand there and the ball just hit him and
I
win.
agree with you. I agree with you. I think he was just counting the empty seats. You know, it's like all the Gunnar Solskjaer said, like the red seats affect the players and their finishing. And I think Nacho Fernandez was the victim of that because he was just looking at it and just shun him or something. He went off the shin, but I feel like he deserves this goal just because of his tremendous defensive performances. He's been a rock with Militao at the back, and you know, Sergio Ramos has been with all excuse my language, but he's been bitching about a new contract. Well, if he keeps that up, then don't worry. We got plenty of backup to fill that void.
Yeah. Um, so out of Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Barcelona, who would you say deserves to win the league title this year? Just objectively speaking, because who has shown the most steel, who has been the best, who has bottled it the most, taking everything into account, because at times it feels like all three of them are bottling. It's become a competition of who's losing points
Yeah.
rather than who's gaining them.
Well, there's one team which you can just completely remove, right? Because they're already out of the race. Even if they win their next game, they're not even coming second. So they're fighting for top four at this moment. I mean, they've secured top four. They're just seeing who's going to finish third and who's going to play the playoffs. So for it comes down to the two teams in Madrid. Atletico had a great start to the season. They were phenomenal. Their new signings gelled really well. Suarez at one moment it felt like Suarez and Felix were gonna be the best duo
Next
in
big
town.
partnership.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Felix kind of could
And it,
not maintain that.
yeah.
Suarez had some suspensions, some injuries. That's where it kind of got tricky for Atletico Madrid. They lost 5 points in 1 week, which
Yeah.
kind of put them back a lot. But on the other hand, you look at all the injuries that Real Madrid have had to go through, all these, 63 injuries, 62 injuries. I don't even know who's counting anymore. I think this is going to be a world record by the end of the time, like most injuries in the season, surely.
And with those injuries, still managed to get in the Champions League semi-final.
Uh,
Credit to
and
Zidane.
and still fighting for the league, and
Still
and
fighting for the
zero
league.
signings, by the way, uh, and having to sell players due to COVID losses. Uh, you know, so it gets when you actually think about it, and all in all, that's a pretty insane achievement. But at the end of the day, in 10 years' time, no one's gonna look back at it and be like, "Oh, remember when Real Madrid had 63 injuries?" No one's gonna care about that.
Definitely.
No one looks at it that way. Everyone just looks at the table at the end of the day. They're gonna be like, okay, match day 37, 83 points to 81. Atletico have been better, and that's why I think until now, until match day 37, and especially because of today, they're still to come back from 1-0 down to 2-1. I think Atletico narrowly edge it. I think they
Um,
deserve to be champions so far. If match day 38 comes around and they draw and they bottle it or they lose, then that'll change.
that'll change. Um, let's look at the relegation battle. We've talked about the top. Oh, just before we move on, actually, huge shout out to Sevilla. 4 goals conceded today against Villarreal and a red card. Beautiful performance.
Yeah, to Villarreal, who we were playing in the last game.
Mm.
So
Uh,
Villarreal are actually Europa League semi-finalists,
yeah.
struggling to make Europa League. They're seventh. So they're Europa League semi-finalists and they're struggling to make Europa League. That's why they've been on tremendous form. And They are on points with Real Betis, but just missing out on head to head. So it's going to be a very, very close one until the end for Europa League as well. So, however, if they lose out on Europa League and win Europa League itself, then they go to Champions League.
Do you think they should just ignore the La Liga stage at this point and go for the
Yes,
Europa
of course.
League?
I just don't think.
I've got the
Of
fixtures right here, and Villarreal play away at Madrid,
Yeah.
and Atletico play away at Valladolid.
Valladolid is
Okay,
owned by Ronaldo, by the way.
really?
Ronaldo El Fenomeno. Yeah, the
Yeah.
number 9. It's owned by
Wait,
him.
what position are they?
They're like
Oh,
bottom.
second last. Okay, so but still, an away game is always an away game, you know.
But it is
It
the
can be very.
relegation battle for them as well. If they manage to win somehow, they're out of relegation, which seems
You
unlikely. They
you
weren't
look
they
at
weren't
that.
down there today, yesterday, but they are now today, which is
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at the form right now, and the 17th and 18th place team, they won today and they lost, which is the only reason they both probably overtook them today.
yeah.
So they'll have a lot to play for. I think Atletico can expect a tough fight. Surely they've got so much to play for, and
It's literally relegation versus title. I think it's gonna be a tremendous match.
Villarreal on points with Betis, one behind Sociedad. They're gonna have a lot to play for as well. I think
Yeah, for sure. I'm interested to see who Sociedad and Betis are gonna play.
Sociedad and Betis. So Sociedad play against Osasuna and Betis play against Celta Vigo. It's going to be an Aspas masterclass. We already know this, surely.
Oh, wow.
Liverpool's corner taker at one point. Spain's corner taker, I believe, at one
Spain's
point.
corner taker at one point. Yeah. Celta Vigo and Real Betis, man. That's gonna be a belter too. Celta Vigo don't really have anything to play for. They're just hanging
They're just
around.
there, you know?
They're just there. But they beat Barcelona today. A poor
Yeah.
Barcelona, but you never know what happens there.
You know what's really interesting? They have the best form in La Liga. Win, 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 win.
5 wins in a row. They might want to keep that up.
And they're finishing eighth now, no matter what. So I think for them, the season's pretty much over.
Yeah.
Um, What are your match predictions for the score predictions? Sorry, for the last game week
That's
for the big
incredibly
three.
tough, Omar.
Mm,
That's incredibly tough. Like how does one even begin? Um,
listen,
just look at it. Like I mean, of course, I think we'll win 2-1 to Villarreal. Uh,
okay,
it's gonna be a very, very, very hard tough match, but
is it gonna
two
be
one
like an
to
ugly win?
yeah, we'll be without a lot of our players, but it's gonna be an ugly win. It's gonna be a 2-1 against Villarreal because Villarreal are gonna come out to attack, right? Which could benefit us because they've been playing very attacking football. They scored 4 goals against Sevilla today, just how you know it. But then again, I also think Atletico are gonna win 2-1 against Valladolid. So it's gonna be one of those games where, just like today, we showed so much grit against Athletic Club and managed to get a win. But so did Atleti, and they also managed to show grit and they managed to get to a 2-1 win over Osasuna too.
Um, you know, I just feel as if relegation teams they have a lot more to fight for. I mean, know the title's on the line, but they have a lot more to fight for in terms of revenues coming in terms of,
That's a good point.
for small clubs, what they can do, just staying one more season at the top division, it does wonders for you. So I don't know why. I just have a feeling that Atletico might not win on the final day, and Real Madrid's just going to steal the title last day. It's going to be a Sergio Ramos 92-48.
He's not gonna be playing. But yeah, that's a great thought actually, and I agree with you because I think the monetary benefits from like the second division or first division are always tremendously different, and especially for next season when La Liga has just announced like $1 billion deal with ESPN or something for next season. So like what's it called in the states. So Valladolid would really be looking at that. Just out of curiosity, can I also see who Huesca and well, just Huesca, who they're playing, Huesca and Elche
Valencia at home,
and
and
Elche.
Elche are playing Bilbao at home.
Okay, so for Elche, that's gonna be a very tough match too, uh,
Mm,
because Athletic, just they're a proud club. They like to win all their games.
mm.
Um, and Huesca against Valencia, oof, just madness all around. I feel like it's gonna be another insane game week.
It's gonna boil.
I
Okay,
think
wait.
I'll need six TVs for match day 38.
Um, what I don't understand is why is there one game happening on Friday and then 9 games happening on Sunday? What's that?
I think it has no consequences. Levante Cadiz. I think if you go to like standings, neither
Yeah, they're
Levante nor
12th
Cadiz.
and 14th. Yeah.
It's a dead rubber basically. I think both teams can just play out their second string. Uh, Literally at this point, they're just fighting for the different prize money, the few hundred
Mm,
thousand difference, maybe one guy's wage or something. At this stage, the differences are very small. I think the brackets are 10 to 14 always, right? Like, or
yeah.
and then 14 to 18. So yeah.
So I guess there we have it. La Liga match week 37 review. Just one final game week left, boys and girls, and that
What
is
are
going to be
your
the big
thoughts?
one.
Who do you think is gonna win the La Liga?
I think Real Madrid. As I said, I think Madrid will beat Villarreal. It's going to be an ugly win, but they'll win. But Atletico, I just feel as if their opponents have too much to play for. Like relegation is very important in terms of financial consequences.
Yeah,
No team wants to be relegated, and especially that one whole long year. It seems very long, especially to fans just sitting in the second division, waiting for your team
yeah.
to go back up. Ask Watford or Norwich right now.
So you're
Um,
really banking on Atleti bottling it.
I they have a history of it. I know with Suarez coming in
It's
that
the
has
history of
changed it.
Atletico. They make a lot of chances, but then uh,
Chiellini, what a legend. Um, yeah, I feel as if I don't know. Felix, we talked about as well. You can't just only rely on one player. I do see Atletico are relying on two players right now, Suarez and Oblak, but I feel their other players need to contribute a bit more to the team. And I know Suarez is the main guy right now. He is more important to Atletico as of right now compared to Felix, for example, who had a great start but then just fell off really hard. And
he was
I just
good
don't.
today. He assisted the first goal for
Mm,
Atleti, and which was actually a pretty nice assist too.
mm. But I just feel as if this team has a history, and that's probably going to also be playing in their mind, because they had the same manager throughout all these different defeats that we've talked about. I know the team has changed, but the manager is still the same. And this manager hasn't really won anything important since 2014. Did they win anything in between? A domestic cup or no?
I don't remember. Um,
Yeah. So there
it's
you
been a
go.
while. I don't think they won anything. They
I
might have.
always see Barcelona and Athletic Bilbao competing for the Copa del Rey, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been those clubs for the last 3 years or so. Bilbao won it in 2019, Sociedad won it in 2020, and then Barcelona in 21. So in recent history, I don't remember Atleti winning anything. They've just quite literally been putting on the pressure. Uh, Once you draw up those comparisons, you kind of hope that on the last day it goes away. And Atletico always do take it to the last, moment, whether it be the last
Mm.
match day or the last minute.
I think for Atletico, their strategy needs to be score as soon as you can, and
Yeah,
score and score. The earlier they can, get 2 or 3 goals in the bag, which is something very abnormal to this Atletico team, who'll get one and then just sit back and defend that lead. I don't think a one goal would be enough for them to just bank on. it's the last day. The other team will have a lot to play for as well. You need to get the goal, and then you need to get more goals. You can't just sit back on one.
Yeah, also in typical fashion, Valladolid away is actually a tough game. Barcelona narrowly escaped a win
Mm.
there too, and for us it was also a tough ground. So for big teams, Valladolid away has always been, historically a little bit difficult. So I wouldn't put it past them to come up with that madness, and I'm also kind of hoping for it too at the same time.
Yeah. Just looking at the stats, final stats. Golden Boot race is over. Lionel Messi once
Yeah,
again.
he's been
His
head and shoulders
13th
above.
his 13th consecutive season where he's had 50 goals or plus contributions. What a player he is.
What a player, definitely. What a privilege to watch him play for the wrong teams.
Should he leave at the end of the season?
It's yeah, it's very difficult to say, and it will be very interesting to monitor his situation throughout summer here on the Two Halves podcast channel, as we're gonna be doing it, and hopefully be even doing it in person as soon as the COVID restrictions are loosened at the end of the month. But it's gonna be a tough one for him and for Barcelona as well, because coming in third is something that's gonna coming in third in the way that they did is gonna be something hurtful with the financial scrutiny and the complications that they are in. It's gonna be difficult for them as well.
Hmm. One guy who deserves a lot more credit, number 3 in that top scorers list, Karim Mustafa Benzema.
Benzema,
Ronaldo left Real Madrid, and we all thought, that's it. The wheels of this bus are about to fall off. He played the role, obviously, there was another main guy at the team, so he had to adjust his role. He was more about the link-up play, the build-up, rather than the finish. And we've seen him transition from that guy to be the actual finisher as well.
yeah.
I mean, what does this guy have to do to get into the French national team at this point, to be honest? Because he can do everything up there.
I mean, in my honest opinion, he's the best French striker by miles. Uh,
Of all time.
of all time is a
Mm.
very different debate. It's a very difficult debate. They have some greats. I'm just talking about the current crop of players.
Because no. Let me finish. The reason I say that because his rival, the go-kart driver, is France's second time top scorer of all time, number 2, Olivier King Giroud.
Well, if you play
Now
more,
imagine
you
if you
score
put
more.
Benzema in there. No, I know that's what I'm saying. If you put Benzema in there instead of him, I'm sure Benzema is number 1 by far by now, don't you think? Because
I
Giroud's.
the
It's not
thing
even
is,
his job to score. Let's be honest. His job is just to link up play, put headers on the plate for the wingers and the attacking
wingers and
midfielders making the
the center
runs. Yeah,
forwards to come in. It's
yeah.
the thing is that the unfortunate reality is that uh, the French coach and the French national team are not going to take Karim Benzema to the Euros. Um, but if he does, I feel like it's a no-brainer who starts up front. This guy has been the best French center forward for quite a while, and he actually suits the French national team's playing style so well with those fast wingers, with the likes of Mbappe, his chemistry is unreal. He's very easy to play with compared to other
Mm,
center forwards and other teammates. There are some people that struggle to gel. You need to mold the playing style in some way. If they're tall and you got to cross the ball into them. If they're short and stocky and quick, you got to play through the middle. But Benzema is all of the above. He's the best all-round forward that we have.
mm. I've just got the French national team stats here of their top scorers of all time. Benzema is actually number 10, and he hasn't made an appearance for the team in 7 years now.
Well, and I think in 7 years he's had the seven best years of his career as well. So
Only the
what
4
he's
Champions Leagues. I mean, come
only
on.
the four Champions League, right? And it's we're very easy to just scrape over that, but his performance in those four Champions League, has actually been insane, and he's had massive, massive performances in all those
Mhm.
competitions.
Yeah. And I think that would be the right time to end this. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Two Halves podcast. Abdul Rehman, did you have anything to say?
No, thank you, Umar. I think we should cut it off quicker. Keep it short and watchable.
Keep it short and watchable. That's the aim. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another edition of the Two Halves La Liga Match Week 37 review. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment any opinions of yours if you agree or disagree with us. And stick with us until the end of the season. And then the summer, you might be seeing something new very soon. Thank you, and we'll catch you in the next half. Bye bye.